There is a particular restlessness that many of us know well. The mind that will not settle. Thoughts arriving one after another, each one pulling attention in a different direction. A worry about tomorrow, a memory from years ago, a conversation that never happened, a task left undone. The mind moves quickly, and we move with it, carried along without choosing to go. You might notice this right now. Even as you listen to these words, the mind may already be elsewhere. Planning, remembering, judging whether this is useful or not. This is not a problem to fix. This is simply what minds do. They move, they generate, they react. And for most of our lives, we have been taught to follow every thought, as if it were urgent, as if each one required our immediate response. But there is another way to be with this movement, not by stopping it. Not by forcing the mind into stillness, but by learning to observe it, to watch the thoughts arise and pass without climbing inside each one. This is the practice we are exploring together. Observing the mind without judgment. Imagine for a moment that your mind is like a river. Thoughts are the current, always flowing, sometimes calm, sometimes rapid. For most of your life, you have been in the water, swept along by whatever direction the current takes. You do not choose where to go. The river chooses. A thought appears and you follow it downstream. Another thought branches off and you follow that one too. You are wet, you are tired, you do not remember a time when you were not being carried. But what if you could step onto the bank? Not to stop the river, not to dam it or redirect it, just to sit beside it and watch. The water still flows, the current still moves, but you are no longer inside it. You are here, on the shore, observing. This is what we are learning: to find the bank, to take a seat, to watch the mind move without moving with it. Let us begin simply. Notice that you are breathing. You do not have to change the breath. You do not have to deepen it or slow it. Just notice that it is happening. Air entering, air leaving. The body knows how to do this. It has been doing this since you were born. Right now, the breath is here. Cool at the nostrils, perhaps. A slight rise in the chest or belly. A pause. A release. Stay with this for a moment. Just the breath. Just the body breathing. And now notice what else is here. Sounds, perhaps. The hum of a room. Distant traffic. The creak of a building. Your own heartbeat. These sounds come and go without your effort. You do not have to do anything for them to arrive. They simply arise in awareness. And thoughts. Thoughts are also here. They arrive the same way sounds do, uninvited, unplanned. A thought about what you will do later. A thought about whether you are doing this correctly. A thought about a person you have not seen in years. The mind generates these one after another like the river flowing. Here is where the practice deepens. When a thought arises, the habit is to follow it, to enter the story it tells, to believe it fully, to become it. But you can also do something different. You can notice the thought the way you notice a sound. Oh, there is a thought. There is the mind, thinking. You do not have to push the thought away. You do not have to analyze it or fix it. You do not have to judge yourself for having it. You simply see it. A thought has appeared. And like the river, it will continue moving. It will pass. Another thought will come. That one will pass too. This is observation without judgment. Watching the river flow without needing it to be different. Without needing yourself to be different. At first this may feel strange. The mind is used to being followed. It is used to your full attention, your full belief. When you step back and simply watch, the mind may protest. It may generate louder thoughts, more urgent thoughts. Thoughts that insist you are wasting time, that you should be doing something else, that this is not working. These thoughts are also just part of the river. They arise, they pass. You return to the breath. You return to the body. You return to this simple seat on the bank, watching. There is no need to be perfect at this. There is no need to achieve a blank mind or a silent mind. The river will keep flowing, Thoughts will keep coming. But each time you notice a thought without following it, you are practicing. Each time you return to the breath, you are strengthening your ability to observe. You are learning that you are not the river. You are the one who watches. So we sit here together, breathing, listening, noticing what arises, and we begin. You sit quietly for a moment and notice your mind is already somewhere else. Maybe it's replaying something you said earlier. Maybe it's rehearsing what comes next. You didn't decide to think these things. They simply appeared. And somewhere beneath the noise, you might feel a low hum of worry that this is just how you are. We spend most of our lives believing we are the voice in our head. When it criticizes, we feel criticized. When it spins stories, we live inside them. When it loops over the same concern for the 10th time, we assume that concern is who we are. The thoughts feel so close, so constant, that we forget there is any distance at all. But the Buddha offered a different view. He said, "You are not the river. You are the one standing on the bank watching it flow. This is not poetry, it is perception. The river is your thinking. It moves, it changes, it carries debris and clear water both. You do not control what floats by. But you are not in the river. You are standing apart from it, noticing. Imagine you are sitting beside a stream. Leaves drift past on the surface. Some are bright, some are torn, some move quickly. Others catch on a rock and circle for a while before continuing. You do not jump in and follow them. You do not grab at them or push them under. You simply watch them come and go. Your thoughts are like this. They arrive without permission. They float through. They leave. A thought about dinner. A memory from years ago. A flash of worry. A plan. A judgment. Each one drifts into view. And if you are not careful, you step into the stream and follow it downstream. Suddenly you are no longer watching the thought. You are inside it, believing it, arguing with it, building a world around it. But you can also stay on the bank. You can notice the thought arrive and let it pass. This does not mean you ignore your thinking. It means you see it clearly. You see it as an event, not as the truth of who you are. This shift is quiet. It does not require force. You do not have to empty your mind or stop thinking. You only have to notice that thinking is happening. And in that noticing, something loosens. The thought is still there, but it is no longer the whole sky. It is one cloud passing through. The practice is simple. Today, notice one thought. Just one. It might be the first one that appears when you sit down. It might be the one that repeats while you are washing dishes. When you notice it, silently say the word thinking. Not as a judgment, not as a way to push it away, just as a label, a gentle acknowledgement. Thinking. You do not need to analyze the thought. You do not need to figure out why it came or what it means. You only name it. And in naming it, you step back onto the bank. You are no longer the thought. You are the one noticing it. This is not a skill you master in one sitting. The mind will pull you back into the stream many times. You will find yourself halfway through an argument with someone who is not even there. You will realize you have been planning and replaying for minutes without pause. This is normal. The river is strong. But each time you notice, you return. Each time you say thinking, you remember where you are standing. And over time, the difference becomes clear. Thinking is something that happens. Watching thinking is something you do. One is the river. The other is the bank. You are not the leaves floating by. You are the quiet presence that sees them move. When you recognize this, even once, the grip loosens. You begin to see that thoughts come and go, whether you believe them or not. You begin to sense the space around them. And in that space, there is a kind of freedom. Not because the thoughts stop, but because you are no longer carried away by everyone that passes. A thought arrives. Maybe it's a memory of something you said yesterday. Maybe it's worry about tomorrow. The thought itself is small, brief, like a single raindrop touching your skin. But watch what happens next. The mind doesn't leave it alone. It reaches for context. It builds a frame. That thing you said becomes evidence of who you are. The worry becomes a prediction about your entire future. One raindrop becomes a flood in your imagination. This is where suffering begins. Not in the thought itself, but in what we make of it. There's an old teaching that names this clearly. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is the story we tell about the pain. The raindrop falls. That's the pain. The flood is the story. You can feel this in your own experience. A moment of irritation arises. Someone interrupts you. The irritation is simple, sharp maybe, unpleasant, but brief. Then the story begins. They always do this. They don't respect my time. I'm not valued here. Now you're not just irritated, you're building a case, gathering evidence. The single moment has become a pattern. The pattern has become your identity. The mind craves solidity. It wants to know what things mean. It wants to turn a passing event into something permanent, something it can hold. This is the nature of craving. Not just wanting pleasant things, but wanting experience to be fixed, knowable, safe. So we elaborate, we add layers, we turn the raindrop into a flood. But you can notice this, you can catch the moment when elaboration begins. Sit quietly for a moment. Let your attention rest on your breath, not controlling it, just feeling it. The coolness at your nostrils, the rise and fall of your chest. Now wait, a thought will come. It always does. When it arrives, try this. Notice the bare fact of the thought, just the thought itself, before you add anything to it, before you decide what it means. A memory surfaces. Notice this is a memory, not this memory proves I'm a failure. Just memory. A worry appears. Notice this is worry, not this worry means something terrible will happen. Just worry. Can you feel the difference? The thought itself is light, almost weightless. It's the story that makes it heavy. You don't have to believe every story your mind tells. You don't have to follow every elaboration. You can see the raindrop as a raindrop. You can let it fall without imagining the flood. This takes practice. The mind is fast. It's been building stories for a long time. It won't stop just because you ask it to. But you can begin to notice the gap, the space between the event and the elaboration, between the raindrop and the flood. A difficult thought arises. Pause. Feel your breath. Ask quietly, what is the bare fact here? What is actually happening? And what am I adding? Sometimes the bare fact is simple. I feel tension in my chest. That's all. The story says, I'm anxious. I'm always anxious. I'll never be calm. Something is wrong with me. But the bare fact is just tension in the chest, sensation. Temporary, changing. The story is optional. You might notice that the story often comes with a flavor, a sense of me, my anxiety, my failure, my problem. The mind wants to make everything personal, to turn passing weather into permanent climate. But thoughts are not yours. They arise, they pass, like sounds, like sensations. They come and go according to conditions. You don't own them, you don't have to defend them. When you see this clearly, something shifts. The thoughts still come, the raindrops still fall, but you stop building the flood. You stop turning every passing moment into evidence about who you are. This is the distinction. Event and elaboration, raindrop and flood, pain and suffering. The event happens. It's simple. The elaboration is what we add, and we can learn to see the difference. The mind moves. It moves often, and it moves quickly. You sit down intending to be here, and within moments you are somewhere else entirely. A conversation from yesterday, a task for tomorrow, a sound in the next room. The present moment slips away, and you find yourself adrift in thought without ever meaning to leave. This is not a failure. This is simply what minds do. They wander, they reach. They follow threads of memory and anticipation as naturally as water follows a slope. But in the wandering, something is lost. The texture of this moment, the feeling of your own aliveness, the simple fact of being here. The breath is always here, always now, always true. This is not poetry, it is observation. While thoughts move through time, the breath moves only through the body. It does not exist in the past. It cannot be found in the future. It is the one experience that belongs entirely to this moment. You might think of the breath as an anchor, not the kind that holds a ship rigidly in place, but the kind that allows it to rest in shifting waters. The currents still move, the surface still changes, but the anchor provides a point of return, a way to stay connected to something stable while everything else flows. When the mind wanders, you do not need to stop it. You do not need to scold yourself or force your attention into stillness. You simply notice that you have drifted and you return. The breath is there, waiting. It has been there the entire time. This returning is the practice, not the staying. Not the perfection of an unbroken focus, just the gentle movement back, again and again, without judgment, without frustration. Just the quiet recognition that you have wandered and the simple act of coming home. You can begin with 3 minutes. Find a place where you can sit without distraction. Let your eyes close if that feels comfortable, or let them rest softly on a spot in front of you. Bring your attention to your nostrils or to your chest. Notice where you feel the breath most clearly. You are not trying to breathe in any particular way. You are not deepening it or controlling it. You are simply feeling it. The cool touch of air at the nostrils as you inhale, the warm release as you exhale, or the gentle rise of the chest, the soft fall. Stay with that sensation, not with the idea of breath, but with the feeling of it, the actual texture, the movement, the temperature, the rhythm. Your mind will wander. This is certain. You will be with the breath, and then you will be thinking about dinner, or a conversation, or the fact that your knee hurts. This is not wrong. This is the mind doing what it does. When you notice that you have wandered, you have already returned. The noticing itself is awareness. In that moment, you are present again. You do not need to do anything else. Just feel the breath once more. The next inhale, the next exhale. If you wander 10 times in 3 minutes, you return 10 times. Each return is the practice. Each return is a moment of choosing presence over distraction, not with effort, but with gentleness, not with force, but with care. The breath does not judge you for leaving. It simply continues. It is always there, always available, always willing to receive your attention again. You can trust this. You can rest in this. Over time, you may notice something. The returning becomes easier, not because the mind stops wandering, but because you stop resisting the wandering. You see it for what it is, a habit, a pattern, not a problem to be solved, but a condition to be met with patience. The breath remains. The anchor holds, and in the space between wandering and returning, you begin to feel the rhythm. Not a forced rhythm, but a natural one. The rhythm of a mind learning to come home to itself again and again without force. You notice something pleasant and want it to stay, a moment of ease, a feeling of warmth, a thought that makes you feel safe or seen. And almost immediately, without deciding to, you begin to hold on. You arrange your attention around it. You hope it will last. Or the opposite happens. Something uncomfortable arrives, a tightness in the chest, a memory that stings, a restlessness that has no clear cause. And you push against it. You try to think it away. You distract yourself or argue with the feeling as if resistance could make it disappear. This is what the mind does. It clings to what feels good and resists what feels bad, as if these states were solid things that could be kept or expelled, as if they belonged to you, as if they would listen. The early teachings offer a different view. All conditioned things are impermanent. See this and be at peace. not as a belief to adopt, but as something to notice directly. Whatever arises in experience arises because of conditions. And when those conditions change, the experience changes too. Nothing stays. Think of weather moving across an open sky. Clouds gather, they darken or brighten, they shift shape. Rain falls or doesn't, and then the clouds move on. The sky does not hold them, it does not push them away, it allows them to come and go. Your mind is like that sky. Thoughts, emotions, sensations, they move through. They appear because conditions have gathered. A memory, a sound, a change in the body, a word someone said. These conditions meet and something arises. Then the conditions shift and the experience begins to dissolve. You can feel this if you pay attention. A wave of sadness comes. It feels total. But if you stay with it, without adding story, without resisting, you notice it is not one solid thing. It pulses, it softens at the edges, it changes texture, and after some time, it fades. Not because you fixed it, because it was never permanent to begin with. The same is true for pleasant states. A moment of joy, a sense of calm. You want to freeze it, to make it yours. But it too is made of conditions. And when the conditions change, the joy changes. It becomes something quieter, or it slips away entirely. Not because you failed, because that is its nature. This is not a sad teaching. It is a liberating one. If you see that nothing lasts, you stop demanding that it should. You stop clinging so tightly to what feels good. You stop resisting so hard against what feels bad. You begin to meet experience as it is, not as you wish it were. Today, you might try this. Choose one emotion or sensation. It does not need to be large or dramatic. Maybe it is a flicker of irritation, a moment of contentment, a dull ache in your shoulder. Just one thing. Watch it, not to analyze it or solve it, just to see it clearly. Notice when it begins. Notice its qualities. Is it sharp or dull? Heavy or light? Does it spread or stay in one place? And then, without forcing anything, notice when it begins to fade, because it will. All conditioned things do. You may notice it dissolves slowly, like fog lifting, or it may shift suddenly into something else. A tightness becomes a sigh. An irritation softens into fatigue. The content changes, but the pattern remains. Arising, persisting for a time, and then fading. This is not something you make happen. You are simply watching what is already happening. The mind moves, the body moves. Sensations come and go. You are the sky, and these are the weather. When you see this once clearly, something settles. Not forever, but for now. You realize you do not need to control every state. You do not need to cling or resist. You can let things move through. And in that allowing, there is a kind of peace. The clouds are already leaving. We spend most of our waking life moving from one thought to the next. A memory arrives, a plan forms, a worry surfaces, then another thought and another. The mind feels full, crowded, like a room with too many voices speaking at once. We rarely notice the gaps. There is a teaching in Zen that points to something easily missed. In the pause between breaths, the mind reveals its original face. Not the mind as we usually know it, busy and commenting, but something quieter. Something that was there before the next thought began. This is not about stopping thoughts. Thoughts will come. They always do. But between them, if we look carefully, there is space, brief, subtle, often overlooked. Think of music for a moment. A melody is not only the notes, it is also the silence between them. Without that silence, the notes would blur together into noise. The silence gives the music shape. It lets each note be heard. The mind works in a similar way. Thoughts arise and pass. But between one thought and the next there is a gap, a moment when nothing is being said, no story is forming, no judgment is being made, just quiet. Most of us fill that gap immediately. We do not trust it. We reach for the next thought as if silence was something to avoid. as if stillness meant emptiness in a way that frightens us. But the gap is not empty, it is spacious. It is the ground on which thoughts appear and disappear. And when we learn to rest there, even briefly, the mind begins to settle. You can explore this with your breath. Sit quietly, wherever you are. Let your body be still. Notice the inhale, notice the exhale. And then, at the end of the exhale, before the next inhale begins, notice the pause. It is small, sometimes just a second, sometimes less, but it is there. In that pause, nothing needs to happen. You are not waiting for the next breath. You are not preparing for it. The breath will come on its own. For now, there is just this brief stillness. The mind may try to fill it. A thought may arrive. That is fine. Notice the thought and return to the pause, not with force, not with frustration, just gently, the way you might return your gaze to a candle flame. Over time, the pause becomes more noticeable. You begin to sense it not only in the breath, but in other moments, between one task and the next, between hearing a sound and naming it, between feeling an emotion and deciding what it means. These gaps are always present. We simply move too quickly to notice them. When you rest in the pause, even for a moment, something shifts. The mind is still aware, still present. But it is not grasping, not rushing forward. It is simply here, without needing to become something else. This is not a state you need to achieve. It is not a goal to reach. It is already happening beneath the noise. You are only learning to notice it. Sit with your breath. Let the exhale finish. Let the pause arrive. And in that brief silence, let yourself be still. Nothing more is needed. There is a thought you do not want. It arrives and you tighten. Your breath shortens. Your shoulders lift. Something in you says no, not this one, and you push. You have done this so many times it feels automatic. A memory you would rather not revisit. A worry about tomorrow. A feeling of inadequacy that moves through your chest. The moment it appears, you clench around it. You argue with it. You try to think your way out of it or distract yourself until it fades. But it does not fade. It lingers. And the tightness remains. This is aversion. Not the thought itself, but the way you brace against it, the refusal. The inner fist that closes as if resistance alone could make the unwanted thing disappear. There is a teaching that says, meet suffering with an open hand, not a clenched fist. It does not mean you welcome pain. It does not mean you invite difficulty or pretend everything is fine. It means you stop adding tension to what is already hard. Imagine holding sand. If you cup your hand loosely, the sand rests there. You can feel its weight. You can see it clearly. But if you squeeze, if you try to hold it tightly, it spills through your fingers. The harder you grip, the more you lose. Your thoughts are like this. When you clench around them, when you tighten and resist, they do not vanish. They press harder. They return in different forms. They occupy more space in your mind, not less. But when you hold them loosely, when you let them rest in awareness without fighting, something shifts. They are still present. They may still be uncomfortable, but they are no longer tangled with your resistance. You are no longer at war with your own mind. This is not about fixing the thought. It is not about making it go away. It is about noticing the difference between the thought itself and the way you meet it. You can begin with the body. The body does not lie. When resistance arises, your jaw tightens, your shoulders lift toward your ears, your breath becomes shallow. These are not thoughts. These are sensations, and you can work with them. The next time a difficult thought appears, pause. Do not try to change the thought. Instead, notice your jaw. Is it clenched? Let it soften. Feel the hinge of your jaw release, even slightly. Notice your shoulders. Are they tense? Let them drop, just a little. You are not forcing relaxation. You are simply inviting the body to stop bracing. And then, without pushing the thought away, let it be present. You do not have to like it. You do not have to agree with it. You're simply allowing it to exist in your awareness the way a cloud exists in the sky. It may feel strange at first. You're used to fighting. You're used to the inner argument, the push and pull. But here you are doing something different. You are holding the sand loosely. You are meeting the moment with an open hand. The thought may stay. It may shift. It may fade on its own. You are not controlling it. You are simply no longer adding your resistance to it. And in that small space, something softens. This is not a one-time practice. Aversion is a habit. It will return. But each time you notice it, each time you soften your jaw and let your shoulders drop, you are training your mind in a new way. You are learning that you do not have to clench around every difficult thing. You are learning that allowing is not the same as surrendering. It is simply the end of the fight. You may notice, in a quiet moment, that the thought you were resisting is no longer as heavy. Not because you pushed it away, but because you stopped adding weight to it. You held it loosely, and it rested there, and then it moved on. This is the open hand. This is the practice, not perfection, not control. Just the willingness to stop squeezing. You sit down to observe your mind and something odd happens. You watch a thought arise. You notice a feeling shift. You sense the breath moving. And then quietly, almost without realizing it, you begin to wonder, who is doing all this watching? It feels like a reasonable question. After all, there you are, sitting, observing. Someone must be home. Someone must be the observer behind all these passing thoughts and sensations. So you look for that one. You try to find the solid center, the steady witness who sees it all. But when you look closely, something unexpected appears. You find more watching, more noticing. Another layer of awareness, noticing the previous awareness. It's like turning around to see your own eyes. The moment you try to grasp the observer, it becomes another thing observed. The Buddha pointed to this with remarkable simplicity. When you look for the one who is looking, you find only looking itself. Not a person doing the looking, not a self holding the awareness, just the bare activity of knowing happening on its own. This is not a philosophical puzzle to solve with thinking. It's something you can sense directly, right now, in your own experience. Consider a mirror. It reflects everything that passes before it, a face, a hand, a bird flying by. The reflections appear clearly, vividly, but the mirror never says, I am reflecting this face, this reflection belongs to me. It simply reflects. The activity happens without an owner claiming it. Your awareness works this way. Sounds arise and are known. Sensations appear and are felt. Thoughts come and are recognized. The knowing happens. But when you search for the knower as a separate, solid thing, you find only more knowing. You can explore this gently. Sit quietly and let your attention settle. Notice whatever is present. A sound outside, the weight of your body, a thought about dinner or tomorrow. Then ask softly, without force, who is aware right now? Don't answer with words, don't reach for concepts, simply look. Turn the attention back toward the sense of the one who is aware. What do you find? You might notice a slight tension, a gathering of attention, a sense of looking. You might feel a subtle contraction, as if something is trying to locate itself. But can you find an actual observer, a solid, separate self doing the awareness? Or do you find just more process, more sensing, more knowing? Awareness, aware of awareness, like a candle illuminating itself. Ask again, even more gently. Who is aware of this breath? Who notices this thought? Watch what happens. The question itself might create a little pause, a gap in the usual flow. In that gap, there's just presence, just knowing, no one behind it, no separate self required. This isn't meant to be unsettling, it's actually restful. When you stop trying to locate and defend a solid observer, something relaxes. The mind doesn't have to work so hard to maintain the story of me watching my experience. The watching simply happens. Awareness does what it does naturally without needing someone to own it. You might notice thoughts arising about this. But I am here. I do exist. This is confusing. Let those thoughts be seen too. They're part of the process. More activity in the mirror, more knowing happening. The practice isn't to convince yourself of anything, it's just to look, to ask the question gently and notice what's actually present when you do. Sometimes the question dissolves. You ask, who is aware? And instead of an answer, there's just this. Just the sound of the room, just the breath, just presence without anyone claiming it. When that happens, you don't need to do anything more. You don't need to understand it or capture it or make it mean something. You can simply rest there. In the looking that needs no one to look. In the awareness that reflects without ownership. The question fades. The searching stops. What remains is simple, open, already here. You've noticed it before. The mind spins the same loop again. Worry about tomorrow, replay of yesterday, a small irritation that grows larger the more you touch it. The thoughts feel urgent. They feel like the only thing happening. But underneath, your shoulders have risen toward your ears. Your jaw has tightened. Your breath has become shallow without you deciding anything at all. The mind can run for hours while the body quietly holds the weight. There's a teaching that the body is the ground of awareness, not a metaphor for awareness, not a symbol, the actual ground. When you return to the body, you return to what is here now, without needing to be solved or understood. The body doesn't argue with itself, it simply feels. Think of tree roots reaching into earth. The branches may sway in wind, leaves may scatter. But the roots stay in contact with something solid, something that doesn't move with every shift of weather. Your body is like that. While thoughts gust and swirl, the body remains, breathing, sensing, holding you in place. You don't need to stop thinking to do this. You're not trying to empty the mind or force stillness. You're simply placing some attention below the neck, where sensation lives. Begin at the top of your head, not imagining it, actually feeling it. Is there warmth, coolness, tightness, a faint buzz of aliveness? You don't need to name it perfectly. Just notice what's there. If nothing is obvious, that's fine too. The noticing itself is enough. Move slowly down to your forehead. Is it smooth or furrowed, tense or soft? Again, no need to change anything. You're not fixing, you're just looking. Let your attention rest on your eyes. Are they straining slightly, even now? Is there a heaviness in the lids or a flicker of movement behind them? Your jaw. This is a common place for holding. Is it clenched? Is there tightness along the hinge? If so, you don't have to release it. Just know it's there. Down to your neck and shoulders. These often carry what the mind won't name. Stress, fatigue, old bracing against something long past. Feel the weight. Feel the texture of the tension, if it's present. Let it be exactly as it is. Your chest. Notice if it's open or collapsed. Notice the rhythm of your breath without controlling it. Is it shallow, deep, uneven? The breath will do what it does. You're just watching. Move through your arms, your hands. Are they gripping something, even slightly? Are they warm or cool, heavy or light? Your belly, often tight when the mind is busy. Feel whether it's soft or held. No judgment either way. Down through your hips, your legs. Notice if there's restlessness or stillness. Notice temperature, pressure, the feeling of contact with whatever surface holds you, all the way to your feet, the soles, the toes, the edges, just sensing. This slow journey through the body does something quiet. It interrupts the loop, not by force, but by offering the mind something else to attend to, something that isn't a problem to solve, just a fact to feel. When you're caught in thought, you're often nowhere, Not here, not now. The body brings you back to location, to time, to the simple truth that you are breathing, sensing, alive in this moment. You may notice that some sensations are pleasant, some are unpleasant, many are neutral. The practice isn't to chase the pleasant or push away the unpleasant. It's to meet each one with the same steady attention. This is what's here. This is what I feel. Thoughts will still come, they always do. But now they're not the only thing. There's also the coolness of your hands, the rise of your chest, the weight of your body meeting the ground. You don't need to stay in the body scan for long. Even a minute or two begins to shift something. The mind starts to remember it has a root system. It starts to feel less like a leaf tossed in wind and more like something connected to earth. When you feel even a small thread of contact with physical sensation, when the body becomes more vivid than the thought, you've done enough. You sit down to meditate, and within moments the mind is everywhere. A thought about dinner, a memory from last week, a worry about tomorrow, another thought about whether you're doing this right. And then, almost automatically, a voice inside says, "I'm terrible at this. Why can't I just be calm?" This is where the suffering deepens. Not in the scattered thoughts themselves, but in the way we turn against our own mind for being what it is. There is a teaching from the Mahayana tradition that offers a different view. It says the confused mind is not your enemy. It is a child learning to walk. A child learning to walk does not move in straight lines. She wobbles, she falls. She reaches for the wall, for a hand, for anything steady. And no one watching says, "What a failure! What a broken child." We see her effort, we see her trying, we stay close. Your mind is like this. It is not broken when it wanders. It is not failing when it returns to the same worry for the 10th time. It is learning. It is finding its way in the only way it knows how. Think of a gardener tending wild growth. The garden is not neat. There are vines climbing where they were not planted. Weeds push through the soil. Some plants grow crooked. Others bloom late or not at all. The gardener does not stand in the middle of this and curse the earth. She does not say, "This garden should already be perfect." She kneels down. She observes what is growing. She pulls gently here, waters there, lets some things be. She knows that growth is not tidy. She knows that patience is not the same as doing nothing. When you sit with your mind, you are this gardener. The thoughts are the wild growth. They will come, they will tangle, they will surprise you with their persistence. And when you notice yourself judging the mind, when that inner voice says, "I should be better at this by now," you can pause. Place one hand on your heart. Feel the warmth of your palm against your chest. Feel the rise and fall of breath beneath your hand. This is not a trick to make the judgment go away. It is a way of meeting yourself with kindness in the moment the judgment appears. Breathe in. The hand stays. Breathe out. The judgment is still there. But now there is also this, the steadiness of your own touch. You do not have to believe the voice that says you are failing. You do not have to argue with it either. You can simply feel your hand on your heart and know that this moment, exactly as it is enough. The confused mind is a child learning to walk. It does not need to be scolded. It needs to be seen. When you place your hand on your heart, you are saying, "I see you. I am here. You do not have to be different right now." The breath continues. The thoughts continue. But something shifts. The harshness softens. The inner critic loses some of its edge. You begin to notice that the mind is just doing what minds do. It is not personal. It is not proof of anything wrong with you. It is simply movement, like wind through leaves. And in that noticing, without force, without trying to fix anything, the judgment begins to loosen. Not because you pushed it away, but because you stopped feeding it with belief. You are the gardener. The wild growth is there. Your hand is on your heart. You are breathing. This is the practice. This is enough. You sit down to meditate, and the mind is everywhere at once. Plans, memories, worries, half-formed thoughts. You notice this and decide to fix it. You try to push the noise away. You try to hold your attention still. The harder you try, the louder it gets. This is not failure. This is what happens when we treat the mind like something to control. There is a teaching from Zen that says stillness is not made. It is revealed when striving stops. The quiet you are looking for is already there, underneath the effort. Think of a glass of water stirred with mud. The water is cloudy, thick, impossible to see through. If you keep stirring, it stays murky. If you try to scoop the mud out, you only churn it more. But if you set the glass down and leave it alone, the mud begins to settle. Slowly, without force, the water clears. The mind is like this. When you sit down and find noise, your first instinct is to stir. You grab at thoughts, push them away, try to arrange the mind into something acceptable. But every grab is another stir. Every push is more disturbance. What if you stopped stirring? Not because stirring is bad, not because you should be better at this, just because stirring does not clear the water. Sit without trying to achieve anything. Let your body rest where it is. Let your breath move as it moves. Let thoughts come and let them go, without deciding whether they should be there. This is not a technique. It is the absence of technique. You are not doing something to the mind. You are letting the mind be as it is. A thought arises, you notice it. You do not follow it, and you do not fight it. It passes. Another thought comes. You notice that too. Sensations appear in the body, sounds come and go. All of it moves through awareness like clouds through sky. You may feel restless. You may feel bored. You may feel like you are doing nothing and wasting time. These are also just movements in the mind. Let them be there. They do not need to be solved. Equanimity is this, not indifference, not detachment. Just a steady presence that does not lean toward or away from what is happening. You are not trying to feel calm. You are resting in the space that holds both calm and noise without preference. The mud settles in its own time. You cannot make it settle faster. You can only stop stirring. Sometimes the mind will quiet for a moment. A gap will open. Do not grab it. Do not try to keep it. The moment you reach for stillness, you are stirring again. Let the gap come and let it go. Sometimes the mind will stay loud for the entire sit. That is fine. The practice is not to achieve silence. The practice is to stop demanding it. Sit like this for a few breaths or a few minutes. No goal, no technique. Just presence. Let whatever arises be exactly as it is. Let the mind move or let it rest. Either way, you are not in charge of making it happen. The stillness is already here. It does not need to be created. It only needs to be allowed. You sit down to meditate, and within moments there it is again. The same worry about tomorrow. The same mental rehearsal of a conversation that already happened, the same quiet ache of not being enough. You notice it, maybe even name it, and then you try to let it go. But the next day, it returns, and the day after that. We tell ourselves we're working on it. We believe we're making progress because we can see the thought when it arrives. But what we often miss is the path itself. The groove that thought has worn into the mind. We see the footprint but not the trail. The Buddha spoke simply about this. See the pattern clearly, he said, and it begins to lose its power over you. Not through force, not through replacement, through recognition. Think of a path through a field. The first time someone walks across the grass, they leave barely a trace. But walk that same line every day for a month, and the grass wears down. The earth compacts, a groove forms. Soon, even if you mean to walk somewhere else, your feet find that familiar line. It's easier, it's automatic. You don't choose it anymore, you just follow. The mind works this way. A thought arises once, and it's just a thought. But if it carries a charge, fear, longing, shame, hope, you return to it. You walk that line again and again. Each time, the groove deepens. The pattern becomes a pathway. Eventually, you don't even notice you're walking it. It feels like who you are. This is not a failure. This is not weakness. This is simply how minds learn. Repetition carves channels. What gets practiced becomes familiar. What becomes familiar feels true. But here is the quiet opening. The pattern only holds power in the dark. When you see it clearly, something shifts. Not because you've fixed it, not because you've replaced it with a better thought, but because recognition itself is different from habit. Habit is automatic. Recognition is awake. Today, choose one recurring thought. Not the loudest one, not the one you think you should work on. Just one that shows up often enough that you recognize it when it arrives. Maybe it's the thought that you're behind, or that you said the wrong thing, or that you're alone in a way that others are not. Don't try to change it. Don't argue with it. Don't push it away or pull it closer. Just notice it. When it arrives, say quietly to yourself, "This one again." That's all. You're not labeling it good or bad. You're not analyzing why it's there. You're just seeing it the way you might notice the same bird landing on the same branch each morning. Oh, there you are. What you're doing is stepping off the path for a moment. You're standing to the side and watching yourself walk the groove. This is different from being inside the thought, carried along by it. This is different from fighting it. You're just watching. The thought may still feel true. It may still carry weight. That's fine. You're not trying to make it disappear. You're learning to see it as a pattern, not as reality itself. And here's what begins to happen, slowly, without force. The more you see the pattern, the less automatic it becomes. Not because you've defeated it, but because seeing is not the same as following. Each time you recognize a thought without being swept into it, you're standing in a different place. You're no longer walking the groove, you're beside it. The groove is still there. The path is still worn, but you're not on it. This is the beginning, not of control, not of perfection, but of freedom. The kind that doesn't come from having better thoughts, the kind that comes from seeing thoughts as thoughts, patterns as patterns, footprints as footprints. You don't need to clear the field, you just need to see the path. We spend so much of our lives looking for something we think we've lost. We search for peace, for clarity, for a sense of being okay. We try techniques, we read books, we wait for the right conditions. And underneath all of it is a quiet belief that awareness, that sense of being present and awake, is something we need to find or earn or build. But there is an old teaching in Zen that turns this searching on its head. It says, you have never left home, you only imagined you were somewhere else. At first, this might sound like a riddle. But if you pause right now, just for a moment, you can feel what it points to. You are here. You are aware. You are reading these words or hearing them, and that awareness is not something you had to construct. It was already present. It has always been present. Think of waking from a dream. In the dream, you might have been lost in a forest, or running late, or searching for something you couldn't name. The dream felt real. The worry felt real. But then you wake, and you find yourself in your own bed, in the room you never left. The forest was never there. The urgency was never there. You were home the entire time. This is what happens when we notice awareness itself. We realize we were never actually lost. We were only caught in the dream of being lost. The mind creates stories. It tells us we're not enough, or that we need to fix ourselves, or that peace is somewhere in the future. And because these thoughts are so familiar, we believe them. We forget that thoughts are just movements in awareness, like clouds passing through the sky. The sky does not need to chase the clouds. It does not need to become something other than what it is. You are the sky. This is not a metaphor meant to inspire you. It is a simple description of what is already true. Right now, there is awareness. You did not create it. You cannot lose it. It is here, quiet and steady, whether your thoughts are calm or chaotic, whether your body feels relaxed or tense. The practice is very small. Throughout the day, pause, just for a breath. Notice that you are already aware. You do not need to do anything special. You do not need to feel a certain way. Simply recognize that awareness is present. You might be washing dishes. Pause. Notice the warmth of the water, the weight of the plate. Notice that you are here, sensing this. You might be walking. Pause. Feel your feet on the ground. Notice that you are aware of walking, aware of breathing, aware of the air on your skin. You might be anxious or distracted or tired. Pause. Notice that even in the middle of anxiety, awareness is here. It is not disturbed by what it holds. It simply holds. This is not about fixing your mind. It is not about stopping thoughts or becoming calm. It is about remembering what has always been true. You are not lost. You have never been lost. You only believed the dream. When you wake from a dream, you do not need to analyze it or solve it. You simply open your eyes and see the room. The dream dissolves on its own. In the same way, when you notice awareness, the story of being lost begins to loosen. You do not need to push it away. You do not need to argue with it. You simply see that it is a story, and stories come and go, but awareness remains. This is home. Not a place you arrive at after years of practice, not a state you achieve when conditions are perfect. Just this, just now. Just the quiet fact of being here. You have never left. The mind will continue to move. Thoughts will arrive tomorrow and the day after that. This is not something we've failed to solve. It's the nature of consciousness itself, meeting each moment with whatever arises. What changes is not the presence of thoughts, but our relationship to them. We begin to notice the space between a thought appearing and our reaction to it. That small gap, barely perceptible at first, becomes a place of rest. Not because we've achieved anything, but because we've stopped insisting the mind be different than it is. This practice of observing without judgment is not a skill we master and set aside. It's more like learning to breathe consciously. We can do it right now, and we'll need to remember it again in an hour. Each time we return to simple observation, we're not starting over, we're continuing. The path doesn't reset, it deepens through repetition, the way water shapes stone. There will be days when judgment feels overwhelming, when every thought seems to carry criticism either toward ourselves or outward into the world. On those days, the practice is even simpler. We notice that judgment has arrived. We feel where it lives in the body, perhaps as tightness in the chest or heat in the face. We name it quietly, judging. And we let the breath move through that space. We don't need to approve of judgment or push it away. Both responses keep us tangled. Instead, we acknowledge it as another visitor in the mind's guest house. It came from causes and conditions. It will leave the same way. Our work is only to see it clearly and not make it more solid than it already is. Impermanence moves through everything, including this very practice. Some days the mind feels spacious and clear. Other days it feels dense and cluttered. Both states are temporary. Both are workable. The clarity we touch today will fade. The confusion we feel tomorrow will also pass. This isn't sad news. It's tender news. Nothing we experience is permanent enough to define us completely. When we meet impermanence this way, as gentleness rather than threat, something softens. We stop demanding that good states last forever. We stop believing difficult states will never end. We begin to trust the movement itself, the way seasons change without our intervention. This trust doesn't come all at once. It builds quietly beneath our awareness through countless small moments of returning to the breath, returning to the body, returning to observation when we'd been lost in story. Each return is a kind of faith, not in doctrine, but in our own capacity to begin again. The mind you have right now, with all its patterns and tendencies, is enough to work with. You don't need a different mind or a quieter temperament. You need only this willingness to look, to notice, to allow what's here to be here, without adding extra layers of resistance or grasping. As you move forward from this practice, carry this one understanding: you can always come back to simple observation. In the middle of a conversation, in the pause between tasks, in the moments before sleep, the mind is always available to be witnessed. Thoughts are always arising. The opportunity is constant. There's no urgency to this, no deadline approaching. The practice will be here tomorrow and the day after that. You can return to it whenever you remember, and that remembering itself is part of the path. We don't practice perfectly. We practice continuously, with all our human forgetfulness and distraction woven in. If you find it helpful, you might continue with another exploration, perhaps looking more closely at how thoughts form or how compassion arises naturally when we stop forcing it. But there's no pressure to move forward. Sometimes the most useful thing is to stay with one simple practice until it becomes part of how we meet our lives. For now, let yourself rest in whatever is present, the sounds around you, the weight of your body, the quiet movement of breath. Everything is already here. Nothing needs to be added or taken away. Thank you for bringing your attention to this practice, for sitting with these words and letting them point toward your own direct experience. The path continues in the ordinary moments, in the spaces between formal practice, in all the small choices to see clearly rather than turn away. May you meet your mind with gentleness. May you rest in the space of simple observation. May you trust the quiet returning again and again to what is here.